This is the K-12 Engineering Education Podcast with Pius Wong and Rachel Farrig.
We're on. Hi.
Hey, Rachel.
Hi, Pius.
There's coronavirus out.
All over the world.
I'm smiling, but that's actually not that's not a good thing.
No, it's
We're
not.
very serious about it. God, maybe I should start this differently.
No, that's okay. And as an effect of that, what are we not doing this week for the first time in like 4-5 years?
We are not at South by Southwest.
We are not, because it doesn't exist.
It exists, but
Well,
not 2020. Yeah, South by Southwest 2020 doesn't exist.
it does not exist. It's the South by that was not.
Yeah, and there's so much to unpack.
I was
about
just
that.
going to say that.
The immediate thing that's on my mind is like there's tons of economic impacts to people here in Austin
Yes.
and elsewhere.
Yes.
There's already layoffs coming
Yep.
for a quarter of the South by staff.
Yep. And then I think of all the extra hospitality staff, the volunteers who put in their time and effort, small acts and exhibitioners who, rely on this for part
right.
of their marketing and the growth of their own businesses.
Yeah.
So it's
It's a loss.
It is a loss. It's a pretty big disappointment, but not just because we're missing out on an experience, but because so many other people who need South by are missing part of their livelihood, really.
Yeah. I mean, we're lucky, I think, to live in Austin.
Yes.
Here we are at the Emerald Tavern Cafe.
Shout out, which
And-
used to be a pub.
Yes, it used to be an Irish pub. It's still kind of actually an Irish pub.
Well, I mean, it's more like a
With more,
Celtic thing.
a Celtic thing where you can play board games and have a beer. And it's cool. And like, I wish that more people could experience this type of atmosphere,
Yep.
And I remember how I felt the first time I was at South by. We were at UT.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God,
Oh
this
my
is what
gosh.
the conference is.
So
And
crazy.
not only are we meeting all these people from around the world, but it gave me a chance, even as someone who lived in Austin, to for the first time go to these different weird venues, unique venues.
Yes, because so many places around town participate
Yeah.
and have parties or events or host different things.
Nerdy things, fun things.
Yep.
I remember like just going to
Interactive
talks.
things.
Yeah. And there's some of that going on right now.
Yes, shout out to the creators of #alt South by Southwest EDU for being able to retain some talent and some presenters and hosting a myriad of events over the past couple of days. We actually were rescheduled to host our live podcast the way we normally would have, but it was scheduled at a time that not all of us could call in.
Yeah.
So we're still going to hold our session. It's just not going to be at South by.
Yeah, so stay tuned for a future episode. I think we're going to
EdTech.
have them call in.
EdTech.
And Rachel, so just to remind ourselves, who was going to talk with us?
So we were going to have my former colleague, sort of a local ed tech expert?
Yeah.
Chris Fancher.
Go-to guy.
Yes. And then we were also going to have Steve Dembo out of the Chicagoland area, who basically made a career out of teaching ed tech and then teaching ed tech to other teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And then a colleague of a colleague.
Yeah, so Victoria Thompson was the third panelist who's still slated to speak to us. But
Yep.
she's an educator over in the Pacific Northwest.
Yes.
And not only that, she's an ed tech consultant. She also happens to work with a bunch of startups, working with another person that we know.
Hi, Melanie.
Yeah, Melanie Kong. She's been on this podcast before, but Victoria would have been a great person to hear at South
Yeah.
by. But we'll just have to wait for her opinions later.
Yep. And so hopefully we can get that scheduled in the next few weeks and we can bring that podcast out maybe in 6 weeks or less.
Yeah, and we'll talk about how do you get a career in educational technology.
And what does that look like? And what does it mean? And what is the future of ed tech? And
It's very relevant.
what are the
today.
barriers? And yes,
I think,
absolutely.
So you've been hearing the news about how like schools are closing. They're in the middle of closing. My university, my community college right now is rumored it probably will be going all online by the time we get this episode out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't want to say for sure, but
Yep.
this is what's probably going to happen.
My son's school district has sent 2 or 3 emails in the past couple of days about travel restrictions and monitoring systems on site and so on.
Are you guys going to have online classes in your district?
The one I work at or at my son's school?
Actually, both. That's an interesting
No.
question.
Well, the district that my son attends probably has the capability for middle school and high school to be able to offer that.
Really? Okay.
To offer either online, solely online, or a mixture of blended or instructor-led but virtual presentations.
Yeah.
Sort of like a blended classroom or interactive learning. I'm not sure how elementary would tackle that, except through the use of Google
It
Classroom.
sounds kind of like a disaster to me, but I don't teach elementary. Like, classroom management is a thing. Are you expecting parents to stay at home while their kid is on the computer?
Right?
And they're not visiting YouTube, and they're not...
they're not watching gamers game and give commentary.
Right. So it's kind of hard. I was just on the way over here. I heard like the newscast from NPR. Like, one of the big questions today is how are educators supposed to handle this sudden transition to online, if that's what's going to be happening.
Exactly. And then I think about smaller districts. There are several small rural districts outside of Austin that just don't have that capability.
Yeah. So what's going to happen to those rural districts?
That is a great question.
They're going to still meet. Then
Maybe.
or they just are going to cancel.
If they have to close, they have to
Wow.
close, and then we lose. Those districts would lose their instructional minutes or instructional days, depending on how they are, how their master schedule is laid out, and if they have built in enough instructional minutes over the year, it's possible that they would not need to hold bad weather days later in the spring.
Okay.
But for some districts, they will, and they'll have to call their students back and teachers back for however many days they were closed.
Can they just extend the school year into the summer like that?
Sometimes they can. It's also been possible in the past. The Texas Education Agency has offered waivers when Hurricane Harvey came through, for example.
Oh, right.
We had several districts in South Texas that were closed for several weeks, and a few were even closed for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And they were given waivers so that they did not have to continue their school year through July or into August.
Right.
So it is a possibility, but you should not ever count on that.
Does state testing occur in these next months?
Yes.
Like the STAR test in Texas, or if you're in another state? I mean, isn't it that time of year?
Yes. So
what happens?
That's a great
It's tied
question.
to funding,
It
isn't
is
it?
tied to funding.
Oh God. So can everyone just like do a rain check, like on everything? Or
I really don't know. And I
Wow.
haven't seen a communication from the Texas Education Agency yet saying how they're going to approach this or what their plans are or what their contingency options are for that.
so there's definitely some scrambling, or I don't know. There's
There
definitely
could
some
be.
problem solving that has to be
Yes,
done.
absolutely.
In the admin side for education.
Yes, and the sooner the better, just so
Yeah.
that district level and campus level administrators know what to say to their students and their families.
Would you want to? Well, okay, we don't know what's going to happen, but if there's a bad outbreak, and the science is showing, in my opinion, that it can. Like, we should have this discussion, Rachel. Like, because I think we represent differing opinions here.
Yes, we do.
I think that it's very possible that there will be an outbreak of something coming out.
I think an outbreak is possible.
And if it
I'm
happens,
not
like-
sure that the outbreak would be as severe or as serious or as lethal as what the public currently fears.
Okay. And so, without knowing what's going to happen, it's obviously you can't wait for the outbreak and everyone to die or whatever first. You have to be proactive.
Yes.
So if people are choosing to close down these schools or delay the school year or whatever, would you?
I
Like,
think
do you
better
think-
safe than sorry, but I wish that we knew more and listened
Sure.
more to places who have already encountered this and experienced it and come out on the other side. You were
Like whom? Like
You were
for-
telling me about your brother. He lives
Yeah,
in Taiwan.
he lives in Taiwan. Apparently, I mean, much closer to China
Much, yes.
than we are, but they don't have, they've got a lot of containment in their COVID-19 outbreak.
Right.
And my explanation that my brother was saying was that they heard about the news early. They, had a very coordinated government-wide, industry-wide, school-wide response, plus they're an island. But they basically worked together, and it wasn't this mishmash of different cities doing different things, which is kind of what's happening here in Texas.
Yes.
And they closed down schools, applied quarantines, people are wearing face masks, and public education was out right away.
Yes.
And there's not, as far as I understood, as far as my brother told me, community spread is not a thing there right now. Can we do that in somewhere like in the USA?
I mean, ideally, yes, we could. But because and I'm not going to get into a political discussion, but because we value certain freedoms and certain rights, and in fact we value the right to our choices and our opinions, I think it's much harder to do that here in America, because to have the response that you would have in Taiwan does take a certain trust and reliance on government agencies, government officials, and we don't necessarily have that in our nation. We want to question our government, and in fact it is our right and our responsibility to do so, but that also does create a certain environment for fear, for misinformation, and for distrust.
Yeah.
So while I think that most public officials are doing the best that they can with what they have, I don't know that our national response could look that coordinated and be as smooth.
If we end up closing a lot of schools in rural districts, for example, or any district that can't really implement online learning or distance learning, do students have to just repeat a grade or something, or how does that work?
No, so again, there could be an opportunity for a waiver, or they could come back and do their bad weather days. But there is also the option of just assessing the students on what they've done so far that school year.
Right.
And then perhaps rolling that content back in, making summer plans and having summer sessions for teachers to be able to plan how to roll in that content for the next year.
Yeah. This also makes me think of, this is the engineering education podcast. When we're teaching STEM, when we're teaching engineering, we always talk about hands-on learning, collaboration, communication, things that to me are much more difficult when you're spread out across the world. Now, granted, real engineers oftentimes do work
on global teams,
especially if you're doing digital projects. We've got Slack, we've got Trello, we've got all these things, but other types of engineers need to be present.
Yes, right.
So in a high school level class or an elementary, middle school level engineering class, how do you promote teamwork or real world learning? Let's use that phrase from the previous podcast episode. How do we implement that when you're doing distance learning?
And that's so hard. I think it's more challenging in the K-12 context, because you can't just teach the students the content using the technology. You also have to teach them to use the technology. Right, so you're teaching content and you're teaching context. So if you have not prepared your students for this sort of contingency, and you have to now all of a sudden teach them how to use Canvas or Blackboard or whatever learning management system or Google Classroom, and then what do you do when you have students who don't have internet at home or don't have technology at home, or just really have a hard time engaging in those lessons because they're not face-to-face or they're not in the classroom. So it's almost like you're teaching 2 or 3 different things at the K-12 level, rather than being more adult learners and having handled technology and experienced technology. But, that's true.
I'll tell you,
you have stories about that.
So I'm teaching in a community college. You're literally talking about the exact same conversations that my higher ups are trying to figure out. We literally, yesterday was when I had to tell one of my classes of students, well, we are maybe gonna turn to online classes for the next, several weeks after spring break. I don't know yet. Probably gonna happen. Whatever. Do some hand waving, and we're like, just in case, here's how you use Blackboard. And in case people don't know, on Blackboard there is like a plugin or something called Collaborate that lets you basically share your webcams. It's like Google Hangouts, except it's on Blackboard, and it has an extra tool where there's a communal whiteboard, so people at home could go on their touch screen and write math problems on it if that's what they want to do. Now, in the 15 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever where we tested this out in the computer lab, it was fine. People saw right away that, oh, this is better than nothing for sure. It's kind of cool. It's funny. People love playing games, drawing on people's drawings.
On the computer.
But they saw right away as well that, oh my gosh, how can I ask questions? I can't use my mouse to write the number 3 on the screen. So there's all these like technical things, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. We got to teach them how to use the tech, even if they are adult learners. Even if they're, like, if anything, I'm wondering if the high school kids will be much better than my, like, 18 plus students. And I don't know. Exactly. So many unknowns. So it's up to us to try our best to teach ourselves and teach the students in whatever way we can. Maybe meet in smaller groups or something rather than in huge classes. But I don't know what the right answer is. And I'll tell you, I have criticisms for sure of Blackboard Collaborate. A lot of it sucks. A lot of our internet connections aren't reliable. We've used Canvas before. I've never used Canvas's like on Google Hangouts type thing.
No, me neither.
And so I think in the next months we're gonna see a huge what's the word? What happens when you're going on that learning curve, that steep learning curve, and we learn a lot, and we're gold tested in fire? That's what I'm thinking. And like
a crash and burn situation,
where some people will crash and burn, and some people will survive and not like it, but they'll survive and pass on what knowledge they have.
Haven't we just created more educational gaps
Burnout
by doing that?
Or well, yes. No, you're right. Exactly.
I don't know. There's no good answer except
this is the problem.
Keep washing your hands, sneeze into your elbow, wash your hands again.
So let's go back to engineering. Teaching engineering.
Use hand sanitizer.
I feel like if I'm teaching math, I want to bring up those statistics that we see on the death rates for coronavirus.
And who is dying and why? Where are they? What are the mitigating circumstances? And then what is the spread rate, and how can we identify?
Look up data online. Do the digital literacy lessons about what is actually real information and not misinformation.
Right.
Checking your sources, cross-checking, understanding just how to multiply percents times a population, any of these things. If I'm teaching an engineering class, if it's digital, I feel less worry, because I feel like you can use browser-centric IDEs. If you give everyone an Arduino to bring home or whatever, maybe they could do stuff. But like, if I'm teaching mechanical engineering stuff, like, do you just tell them, hey, find your own cardboard and
here's a list of supplies.
Play with these scissors.
Procure it.
Use this. Play with this hammer and you'll be fine. Like, I mean, most people will be fine, but there's going to be that one or two students who don't know how to use like a wrench and they end up putting their eye out or something. So like,
I think about some of the curriculum that we had when we both worked at UT. Some of that could easily be taught virtually or through distance learning, but some of it can't.
So is this just a matter of editing? Take out the stuff that isn't going to work? But it's cumulative, like it builds on itself as well.
Yes.
So it depends on
you're
the
learning the skills, and if you take out the component or the content of that curriculum that teaches those particular skills, you still have to replace it with something to continue to teach those skills.
Right. I wish that your blended learning model was more off the shelf and ready to go. Where if ever you felt like it, you could just go boop, click a button, and this is you go on this website, and you're like, all right, what we're going to do is this.
Well, and that would be great for substituting as well. So if you're going to be out as a teacher, having something ready-made that is still engaging and involves actual learning and actual, student engagement that makes them do things and learn things and apply things, I know that substitute teachers all over the world would be rejoicing because they don't have to either A, show a movie or some other boring thing or a stack of worksheets.
Yeah.
But they also get to actually see the kids doing real work and feeling like, okay, I was able to help participate in that.
Right. It makes me wonder, how can you get that for a project like building a trebuchet or building that bottle rocket? Like, they're just not gonna do it.
No.
unless part of the assignment was, hey, meet up with 2 of your neighbors who happen to be in your class,
And you have to turn in a certain deliverable, and I will be grading you on these components of it, and record your discussion, and I don't know, lots of other things.
Maybe some of these design projects that we assign are related to preventing disease. It's
One thing.
I don't know. Like, there's that whole thing about people are making runs for face
Toilet
masks
paper.
or whatever. And
My neighbor. Let me tell you about
Not
my
calling
neighbor.
anyone out,
I'm
but,
not. I have lots of neighbors.
I got toilet paper last week, but it's because we needed toilet paper.
I mean, I have toilet paper in my house. I did not run out and buy. This neighbor ran out and bought literally 15 cases of bottled water, water, and 36 packs.
So they're holding out to be quarantined for like 2 months.
So I'm going to, I told my neighbor's wife, well, when I go to the store and can't get toilet paper, I'm just going to come down here and raid your house.
Wow.
She laughed. She's okay with that.
Is she the type of person to
She's
prepare
more
for
on
the
my
zombie apocalypse?
No, it's the husband.
Oh, he's one of those.
He's
what's it called? It's like
we're both looking
end
at
of
each
days
other.
type
Yes,
thing? I don't know.
Preppers. A prepper.
It's a prepper?
He's a prepper.
Like,
she's not.
okay.
She's a realist.
I'm definitely more on the prepper side of things.
Well, you're risk averse.
Yeah, but I didn't buy, I got more canned food, but
I have made zero preparations.
You can have my beans if you want some.
Oh, thank you.
So, even then, canned beans are not going to get me through a zombie apocalypse. But it's like going to last me another week, you know?
I bet you'll make it through COVID-19 just fine.
Yeah, I will. But no, realistically, the reason why it does concern me is specifically for the people who have compromised immune systems or
Yes.
elderly. And it's true that anyone
Yes.
under 50 years of age pretty much you're going to get flu symptoms.
Yep.
And kids even are not as, they're
not as
resistant.
at
The
risk,
flu is more
yes.
dangerous to babies than
COVID-19.
COVID-19. It's everyone
the
above.
elderly.
And
yep.
I'm as a community college staff, I encounter people who are older than 50 all the time. I don't want to be making people sick or going sending them to the hospital.
No, I would
That's
not want
why
to
I'm
be
concerned.
a carrier.
That is
right.
specifically why I'm concerned, or
Yep.
anyone who has any kind of condition.
Yep, I'm with you on that one.
So I don't know. I get why some schools and South by and all these organizations are saying, hey, work from home, or we're not
Yep.
meeting.
It's not
But-
necessarily to protect the people who would have been in attendance. It's to
Yeah.
protect the community at large.
Right. Herd immunity, as
Yes.
they say.
Yep.
That said, I guess it's going to suck for a little while.
Yeah, I think so.
And
Wash your hands.
I'm lucky that I can still teach online.
Yes.
I feel like I don't know what's going to happen to teachers who can't teach in
I
your
don't know.
district.
Yeah.
Or,
No, I'm not sure.
I wish there was emergency
hope
leave.
that the rural, I hope the rural districts end up feeling that they are sort of far enough removed and isolated enough that they can continue to function normally.
And they probably can. I mean, there's not going to be
I
as
think
huge
so.
gatherings.
We don't. Right. There aren't a lot of huge community events. There's not a lot of international travel, things like that.
So here's the thing, though. I agree that I think the risk is lower for sure, but we also know that in rural communities today, hospitals are closing more, and
True.
getting rural health out there is
It's a
harder.
challenge,
So,
yeah.
So maybe they're less at risk. But if all of a sudden a community does have
Yes,
a case,
they
I
would
feel
also
like,
be less likely
Yeah.
to receive timely care.
which is really frustrating. That's
Mm-hmm.
scary. That's kind of angering to me. But not to get again too political, but it's obviously a problem, and I feel like that's another engineering problem in some ways. Like, how do you even deal with that?
Yeah.
You know what they were recommending to one of my friends? They're like, oh, it's safer not to go to the doctor directly, but use your telemedicine
Oh,
app.
yep. I've heard. Where did I hear? messaging about that recently that
Like
they are
Teladoc?
encouraging.
I don't know if your benefits
yes,
have that, but-
Mine does, and
Okay.
it's the first time I've ever had benefits that included that. But they are recommending that you set virtual appointments with your doctor to discuss the symptoms, for your doctor to do a visual appraisal.
Right, like non-emergency stuff.
Right, before going in and possibly exposing anyone to any virus, whether it is COVID or just a
Right.
simple rhinovirus or anything.
I gotta tell you, I used telemedicine once, like I think last year. Mm-hmm. Do you know shingles?
I do know
did I-
shingles.
did I tell you
you
that?
have shingles?
So
oh, God, that's awful.
when I was like 5 or 4 or something like that, I
You
got
had
the
chicken
chicken
pox.
pox, and it spread to all my brothers. We all got it at the exact
of
same
course,
time.
that's
My
what we
mom
all
had
did
a-
in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Exactly, got a scar right under my nose to prove it. But anyway, I don't remember this, but like all of a sudden, one day last year, I'm like, "Ugh, I have this itch in my shoulder. I can't reach it. I'll just try to scratch it. Next morning, oh, it's still there. Gosh, I wonder if I have a rash. Oh, next morning, I wonder if I'm allergic to something. This is so weird. And I'm trying to look at it. Like I look at it in the mirror. Oh, it's just a little like
little-
a pimple kind of thing. Like,
Okay.
oh, whatever. Maybe it'll just go away. And if you know how you get a pimple, you don't scratch it, right?
Right.
That's good dermatology. Next morning,
Full
big
blown,
like blister
huge-
thing.
Oh.
I was like, what is this? And I actually had to use the telemedicine app twice because I think I called them around that time when it was, a small quarter-sized set of little blisters.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's weird. And so I had them look at it, and you snap a photo of
gotcha.
it. And imagine me trying to take a picture of my
Oh,
own
good
back.
grief.
But whatever, I send it through the app. It's private. You have HIPAA security, all that. And the first doctor actually just said, oh, I'm prescribing you a steroid. You can go to Walgreens and pick it up. So they could prescribe medicine right there. I picked it up, didn't do anything. I must have
course
waited
not.
like 2 more days. I did telemedicine again because I didn't want to go to the doctor and wait for like several days or whatever it was. And then that doctor was like, oh, I know what this is. I don't even have to.
I don't even
Yeah.
have to look at you.
And he asked the
It's
same
shingles.
questions. He's like, so this might sound like a weird question, but did you ever have chicken pox as a kid? And by that time, I already knew it was probably shingles because I did my own WebMD hypochondriac thing and looked it up. And I'm just glad because I didn't lead him on. I just gave him symptoms, and he's like, shingles. So I'm like, okay, good. It confirmed what I thought.
There you go.
And he basically said, yeah, you have shingles.
Oh,
And so he prescribed I forget the medicine name, but it's a very specific.
it's an anti-vaccine.
Antiviral.
Antiviral,
Yeah,
yeah.
because the virus lives in your body that whole time until it flares up. Coincidentally, my brother, one of my older brothers, got shingles like a month later. So I think it was the same
Wow.
virus family
Oh,
that just
yeah.
lived in us
Yeah.
all these years, and they just exploded at the same time. That's my
Crazy.
theory. In any case, telemedicine works sometimes.
I was just going to
So,
say sometimes.
yeah.
So one of the teachers that I work with used telemedicine recently. She had allergy symptoms, and then she thought maybe a cold, but it kept getting worse. So she used telemedicine. And the doctor that she spoke with said, well, I think you probably just have an upper respiratory infection. So again, yes, prescribed antibiotics, but that's not what she had. She had a double ear infection and pneumonia. After she had been on antibiotics for about a week and a half and it still wasn't working, she went into the doctor in person and said, like, this, I'm still horribly sick, still this deep cough that's never, it's not fully productive and it's so painful. So then they did more tests and said, oh yeah, no, you don't have,
Oh my gosh.
an upper respiratory. It's 2 ear infections and pneumonia. And so telemedicine can work,
So it's not a.
but not always.
Right.
It's not a surefire
I guess
thing.
it depends.
Yeah.
And you're emphasizing for me that the only chance for telemedicine to work is if you are motivated to get an answer. She was like, I was motivated to go use that doctor and snap a picture and like try to get an answer, call them twice.
I think it's more that the technology is great when it works,
when it works,
but you run the risk of, I think that you do run the risk of an increased chance of misdiagnosis.
Okay. That is why teleeducation or distance education probably has a bunch of problems as well.
Yes. it's hard to, for example, provide accommodations or really differentiate your instruction if you're limited to certain platforms.
I can't see my students work for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that.
Unless
when I'm
they
doing
can
it.
scan it and send it to you.
Which
and
is a
even
big
then
pain.
it's so time consuming.
Right. And not again, I agree that motivation is not the only issue, but it just makes me think, like, a lot of students may not be motivated to log in or whatever.
No, you're absolutely correct.
Okay, well, yeah, it's going to suck for a little while.
It's going to. So if you all have answers, come on, engineers, fix it.
When we talk again, it
Yes.
sounds like we're going to be actually talking to Chris and Steve and
Victoria.
I think we had an idea of, once we have a better grip on what schools are doing, what companies are doing, engineering companies and all that stuff in the next months, maybe we should talk about distance learning or what tools to use for that kind of stuff, or how it's going, whether it's a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah, and again, I hope our listeners send us some ideas about their experience with distance learning, med tech, ed tech. I always like to hear when they have questions so that we can kind of toss those questions out to the experts in the field.
Who's the expert in the field?
Chris and Victoria.
Oh, that's the...
and Steve.
Yes, because they're the ed tech experts. That's right. No, I was like, wait, what am I... I gotta ask them. Like, I don't even know how much they've successfully run, like, online classes.
I know.
Ed tech is not just that.
No.
So it's like... yeah, well, anyway, that's for them.
Yes.
We'll have to find their subspecialties.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm sorry, listeners, that we didn't actually make it to South by, but it's not our fault.
We'll see you next time, though.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. The K-12 Engineering Education Podcast is sponsored by my studio, Pius Labs, here in Austin, Texas. And it's also sponsored by The Engineer's Guide to Improv and Art Games. You can support the show by checking out that book. The show is also made possible by amazing individual donors who financially support this show on Patreon. You can do the same at patreon.com/Pius Labs. Visit the podcast website for show notes, links, transcripts, and more. Go to k12engineering.net. That's K12 engineering.net. Thank you to all the listeners of this show. Stay safe out there as always, and we'll keep you updated.